Hey everybody, so today we're going to be taking a look at our UJF-6042 Mimaki UV digital printer. We're going to do a brief intro into UV printing, the specs of this machine. We're going to go over our software setup. We're going to go over kind of our fence and all the different printing jigs that we use to print on the 10 different products that we print on a daily basis. And we're just going to go over our model for how we use this printer to make money. So as far as specs go, the print bed is 600 millimeters wide, 420 millimeters deep, roughly 24 inches by 16 inches. The Z height is 6 inches, so you can print on things up to 6 inches thick. And the way that they do that, it really goes up and down by 2 inches, but they have this pin system here. So right now we're in the 0 to 2 inch range. One set of pins out, you'd be in the 2 to 4 inch range. If you took both pins out, you'd be in the 4 to 6 inch range. And the table just comes up like this, and then you can take the pins out as needed. It also has a vacuum table. I have it unplugged right now because it's quite loud. This is hollow in here, and these two motors are the vacuum motors, which pull the vacuum through the whole array that's on the table. So it's useful if you're printing on like paper or cardboard or something that can be easily held down. We don't use it much because most of the things we're printing on is we have a large jig that the vacuum just isn't much of a use for. As far as inks go, we've got CYMK, light magenta and light cyan, and then a white and a clear. We did have a older model UJF-3042 that didn't have that light magenta and that light cyan, and it's just night and day, the print quality between that old 3042 model and this 6042 Mark II. The color just pops so much better. The white we use as a base coat on everything, so the order of operations for printing is it prints a white layer, then the color, and then we'll overprint it with a clear layer, which heightens the color, it makes the colors more vibrant, and it also protects the print as well. The print head is over here. You'll see it come across. So that print head just runs across, and this whole table goes back, and the print head drops the ink directly onto the product. So we're gonna print some baseballs. I'm gonna throw the jig on the printer, and I'll show you the software setup that we use to set up the actual print file, and then we'll actually do some printing. So all of our orders route to ShipStation, whether we get them on Etsy or Amazon or our website, and we use this list in ShipStation as kind of our print list or work list for the day. So we've already gone order by order and set all of them up here in Adobe Illustrator. And you can see we're even printing like digital photos onto these baseballs, and that's only on a 1 1/4 inch diameter area, and the quality we can get with it is just phenomenal. So we have template files set up for all of our products, and that's what we do throughout the day, is just go product by product, setting up the actual designs, printing, and then shipping. So we'll save this as a EPS file, artboard's checked, and then we'll upload it into Rasterlink 6 Plus. This is the RIP software that we use to actually send the file to the printer itself. This software is very, very powerful. There's a lot that you can do with it. We really run it with like 2 settings. We basically take the file, create a white layer, a clear layer, combine them, and hit rip and print. But there's a lot more that you can do with this software. And now we'll take a look at this thing actually printing. So in terms of how we orient all of our print jigs on this printer, we have this fence that we made. So everything, we place it on there and then register it into that bottom right-hand corner. And the way that we designed that actually is we were able to get the machine drawing for this, the top of this print bed, which actually calls out the location of every threaded hole, every pin relative to like the center lines in the machine, and it also calls out the full print area. And that document was actually kind of difficult to get. We had to contact our distributor, who had to contact Mimaki in Japan. Half the documents in Japanese, like it's not posted anywhere. I don't understand why they wouldn't want to make it available. We put it at a link in the description if you want to take a look at that. But what we were able to do is because we know the exact location of all these threaded holes, we sourced these pins from Mizumi, and it's an M4 thread and a 6mm pin on top. And then we designed this fence in Fusion 360 and machined it on our CNC router with sleeves for those pins. So we have 3 locations, and these surfaces represent like the far edge of the print area for like the X and Y. So when we're ready to put a jig there, we just set it on the table, bring it down to this surface, and then put it right into the corner. So everything is registered to the bottom right-hand side, and that works basically for all of our jigs. What I've seen is jigs where like it's set up as in pins, so you always have to try to like line up to the pinholes that you can't see and get and slam it in there. But this setup really works well for us. If anybody actually is interested in purchasing one of these things, we can make them, because like I said, we make it on our CNC router, and if there's any interest, just comment below and we'll reach out to you. As far as our CNC router, we also use it to make all of our print jigs. So this is an example of a print jig for tape measures. Got our golf ball jig. Another thing I want to mention, we use a lot of MDF for our print jig material, and we found that the 1" is the best to use because it doesn't warp as much as the 3/4 inch. They won't sell it at Home Depot. It'll be like a building supply contractor. We tried UHMW, also had problems with it not being completely level. So if you have recommendations on materials that would work best, we'd love to hear it. So please comment below. In terms of like our model for doing business, we don't do any custom work. So we do occasionally get people who reach out and say, hey, can you print on these phone cases or these laptops or AirPod covers? And it's always a no thank you. There's plenty of other people who are great at that. We just stay away from it because it's, you know, is the ink gonna adhere to the material property? I don't know, I gotta test it. How are we gonna locate all these, you know, new items? I guess we'll have to make a new jig. So it's like all this extra work for something that isn't gonna be repeatable. We really stick with our own products or standard products like golf balls. We can print custom different designs on them, but in terms of setting up the actual printing, it's going to be the same every time. We just stay away from custom work and really do just our own products. Another thing that we have done with this machine is when we were smaller, we had one person who would do the print setup, the printing, and the shipping. That worked, but it really means that this machine was only running 45 minutes a day. It was, you know, we were running it 6 times, but it would take an hour to set up a print file, 5 minutes to print it, and then another half an hour to ship it all. So what we did was we took that print setup role and we hired a different employee to do that. So now when our printer gets it in the morning, they have 5-6 print files to get going right away. They proof them, and then they can load the machine, start printing. They're still doing the shipping, but by breaking out that print setup process, we were able to basically keep this machine running a lot more with just one person. The next step as we continue to grow is we'll split out that shipping role. So we'll have one printer is proofing that print file and loading the machine and printing it, because that's the name of the game. If this thing isn't running, you know, we're not making money. It's a bit frustrating with sometimes there being some play in the flatness. This machine is miles ahead of the older machines in terms of how much you can get away with distance-wise. So if this corner is off by 1 millimeter from this corner on an older machine, you'd have, you know, that would completely blur out and the print would look like crap. This machine, better technology, sometimes you won't even notice. But thanks for watching.